1985 Bentley Mulsanne Turbo. In white, comes with the private registration, this one. At some point in its life it was red, and it's had a colour change. In all fairness, the colour change they've done inside the door checks and all the bits and pieces that are normally left. So it's had a decent colour change, this one. Like I say, in white. Bodyweight wise, we're going to start off the bonnet, work our way around this Bentley onto the interior, and then we'll go for an engine start-up. Nice and straight up the centre section of the bonnet, no paint flake or rust around the chrome trim. A tiny little bleb just at the front there, just starting to come through. The grille itself is obviously not a painted grille with it being a Mulsanne. Chrome work itself, nice, some very, very light scratching in it, but it's all good. There's no heavy pitting, and there's a little bit of corrosion just around the badge there, the Flying B, just starting there. All the fins are intact, no bits missing, no big dings or dents at all to the grille. Headlights are lovely and clear on both sides, as are the black surrounds, no cracking in those anywhere. Up the left-hand side of the bonnet, all nice and straight, no heavy scratch or nastiness to the paintwork really on the left-hand side of this. Across the front of the scuttles, all nice and tidy as well. And again, no heavy delamination to the window. Normally you get quite a bit of delamination sometimes on these. Right-hand side of the bonnet, again, nice and flat. The odd tiny little bit in the paint if your nose is sort of touching it, but no dings or dents again. And with it being white, you'd see any form of rust from, a good 10 paces away. All nice and level down there. As we come down the left-hand side, like I say, light lenses are all nice and clean. No problems at all with that. No rust underneath the headlights anywhere. The bumper corner themselves are on. There's no big scuffs or scrapes in the bumper corner. You can see the sort of inlays come out here on the front. Across the rest of the front bumper is all okay. Some very, very light scratching to the chrome work, but no heavy pitting. And again, right-hand side's all right. The lower half of the valance there, you can see sort of missing your black splitter. There's normally another little bit of splitter that comes further down there that is missing there on the front valance. As we come around the right-hand side, the wing top's all nice and straight. No problems with that there, all nice and level on the wing top. The lower valance there has obviously had some bits and pieces at some point in its life. And we're going to go around the arch, like I say, not covered in rot. We've got a few blebs and blisters on the arch itself, but it hasn't come through the head of the paint yet. You can't see any orangeness there. We'll do the arch lip nice and slow so you can have a good look at the arch lip itself. Got the Bentley alloys all the way around as well on this one. A few little stone chips here and there on the wing itself. Across the lower half of the sill section, we'll do that first. Go nice and slow so you can have a good look. We'll come back along there as well. Up the door itself's all good. No heavy corrosion around the handle or around the lock. Tiny little bit at the back of the door, a very, very small amount at the back of the door. As we come up onto the roof itself, again, all nice and presentable across the roof. There's a few little bits and pieces in the paint itself, but with it being white, you sort of don't notice. And the odd sort of heavier scratch there, and a few little bird poo marks in the paint, but like I say, with it being white, you've got to be fairly close to notice any of that. No heavy pitting to the wing mirror. As we come back down the driver's door to the rear, a little bit of rust starting at the very bottom of the driver's rear door at the front, but again, it hasn't broke the head through on the paint. And nice and straight down the rest of the door. Across the door top, no corrosion there. It's obviously had paint, there's a few little bits in the paint here and there. And a few tiny little marks around the handle, but no big blebs of rust around that handle. Across and around the rear arch, got a little bit of a scuff on the rear arch there on the right-hand side. As we come round the arch and down the lower half sections a little bit down the bottom, I'll do the inside lip once again, so you can have a good look at that there. Across the bottom half of the lower valance on the rear quarter there's a little bit at the bottom starting, and there's a crack in the paint at the back of the wing, of the arch, sorry. But again, with it being white, not very noticeable. Down that lovely pillar, no corrosion around the Bentley badge on the pillar. And across the rear quarter top, all nice and straight. As we come round the rear bumper, it's got a few marks on the side there, a bit of a dent there on the rear bumper itself. And you can see the rubber trim starting to peel off the back bumper as you work your way along. Left-hand side, again, it's all okay. The rubber's not too bad. There's a bit of polish marks on the bumper, but like I say, the back bumper there, the rubber's starting to sort of corrode inside of itself there. Rear light lenses are okay on the right-hand side. And again, okay on the left-hand side, a little bit of a crack to the left-hand top brake light. Private plate with the car light I've mentioned. No heavy corrosion around the badges. A few bits in the paint itself, but no heavy corrosion. Up across the boot lid, all nice and flat across there. The odd little mark here and there, the odd little scratch, but no major dings or dents, nice and flat across there. Corner itself, a little bit just starting on the corner there. As you come away across the passenger side, a bigger amount there on the left-hand side below the rear window. Have a look at the roof from the back as well. Let's say a few little stone chips here and there. You have got that rust there on the left-hand side. Down the rear quarter on the left-hand side, a little bit of rust underneath the light there, right underneath. And again, it's obviously had some work down here on the lower half of the van, so you can clearly see that there. Around the arch, nice and slow, again, a stone chip there and a little bit of paint shrinkage at the top there. We'll do the arch lip itself. Have a good look in there. Go nice and slow. And again, no rust coming through on the paint side of things, and I can see, yes, we've got that sort of filler work down on the bottom half there, and a bit of paint sort of where the paint's shrinking, a bit of paint left there. A little bit of a crack down the bottom half of the sill. Go nice and slow. No big black salt lines halfway up the sill there. Normally you get black lines up to here on these old Bentleys sometimes. Across the bottom of the door looks to be okay. A few little marks in the paint. No heavy marking around the handle. There is a little mark underneath there, but not really corrosion. And the door tops look okay as well. A few little stone chips down that passenger rear door. As you can tell, it is white. It has been used for wedding hire, this car. Across the lower half of the door on the passenger front, sorry. And all okay up the door itself. Again, no heavy corrosion around the handle or the lock. A few stone chips and the odd mark in the paintwork. And a few little touch-ins on this left-hand side. As I come down onto the front wing, again, the trims just start to peel away there off the front. Come round the arch lip. That's it. It's obviously had paintwork over the years as well. I know it is a different colour. Got a little bit of rust coming through here on the passenger front wing, sorry. But nice and level down the passenger side. Onto the interior now. Just seem to be sitting over a little bit on the right hand side, this one. Onto the interior now. Door cap itself. No delamination there, but it's obviously had some work at some point. Sort of a home job, I think, more than anything. Door card itself showing a bit of wear, but no rips or tears to the door card. As you can see, the car did used to be red, but like I say, they've painted inside all of the checks. The vendor did say it was done when the car was fairly new. It was actually done by Bentley, but we have no proof of that, unfortunately. The seat itself showing some wear, some discoloration, some dirt in the creases there. But again, no heavy rips or tears. There's a little crack here and there, but no big rips or tears out of the driver's seat. Bit of wear to the steering wheel, which is pretty standard. Across the top of the dashboard, we've got no cracking. But as we come down the dashboard, you'll see some delamination to the glove box. The rest of the dash looks okay. A little bit of delamination around the dials, showing 71,797 there. Down the centre console, aftermarket head unit fitted. And again, a bit of delamination with a bit of paint flake around the seat adjustments there, and a bit more heavier lacquer peel around the wing mirror adjustment. Headlighting's all nice and clean and tidy. Into the driver's rear. Door makes a bit of a clicking noise there. Door card itself nice and tidy again. Wood's okay across the top, but it's not as sort of shiny as they normally are, or the lacquer's not as thick as it normally is in a Bentley. Seat itself showing a bit of wear, but no rips or tears. Just a little bit of engraved dirt in that bottom swab there. Nice red carpet set in the back. Any delamination to the mirrors there? A little bit of delamination to the mirror on the left-hand side, and the same again on the right-hand side, and the same again, sorry, on the left-hand side. A little bit of cracking there. Armrest showing minimal wear once again. See that door sort of just clicking on the striker there, on the check strap. The boot itself, a few marks to the boot carpet itself. But apart from that, all right. A few little heavy steering in there. Onto the left-hand rear. Again, no delamination to the wood, but like I said, it has been re-lacquered at some point. Not to a sort of the highest of standard, but it's not bad, very presentable. Door card's all nice and tidy on the left-hand side. Again, nice red carpet set as we come up the passenger rear seat, showing a bit of wear to the rear seat, but not too bad at all. Onto the left-hand side now. Door card itself, all okay. No rips or tears once again. Passenger seat showing sort of the right amount of wear for the year and the mileage of this car. It's obviously been used. Bit of grubbiness to the seat, but again, no rips or tears or nastiness. Just a bit of engraved dirt in the centre swabs there. You can see that. Might I say some delamination to the wood on the left-hand side of that glove box. We're just going to pop back around the driver's side and we'll open the bonnet now. Pop the bonnet open here. This is the 6.75 litre turbo, with it being the Mulsanne turbo. The clues in the name there. A little bit of paint flakes to both strut tops, which is pretty standard on these. I know on these sort of earlier Bentley Mulsannes, the 8s, the turbo Rs sort of do that in some of the shadows, but not too bad, and they're all presentable in there. Still got your aircon pulley on as well. I'm going to fire it into life here. A little bit of throttle, it'll fire up. Firing into life there, taking over nice and happy. No nasty noises from that engine bay. We'll check for warning lights. I know brake pressure is normally quite a thing on these. We've got a flickering mineral oil light there, which wasn't on before, for the mineral oil level, and the fuel light's on, but no brake pedal. When you press the brake pedal, the switch does flick on there, but normally when you get them moving, they tend to sort of go off. Brake pedal doesn't feel too bad, a little bit spongy. And there you have it, the Bentley Mulsanne Turbo in white with the red and magnolia leather, the red piping there, and the red floor mats.